All right, I'm not going to be able to work on them. It's almost 6 in the evening. I've been working since 8 o'clock this morning on paperwork and writing a couple of descriptions of how the city of Virginia City got its name, and also on Henry Plummer, who was a famous road agent. Actually, he was a sheriff of Bannock County, and he had a gang of road agents up there in Virginia City and in the area around there that preyed on gold miners. What they would do, the gang would do, is they'd, well, the sheriff, Plummer, would hand out red scarfs to those miners who had gotten their gold and were heading back east to take it back to their families. He'd give them a red handkerchief to wear around their neck, and they proudly displayed it as they rode out of town. Well, this was a definite sign to the road agents that worked for Henry Plummer that this gentleman had a bag full of gold, or bags full of gold on his donkey, and they'd be robbed. And I think they robbed something like $250,000 in gold, in a couple of years, in a 2-year period. And over 100 and some odd people were killed, and stagecoaches robbed, and all under the eye of the so-called sheriff of Bannock County. Well, eventually, the sheriff, they started to investigate, and one night they captured a guy who was nicknamed Red, and it was a cold December night that they captured him, and they got him to confess, thinking that, Red thinking that he could save his life by just not, by giving up secrets of the gang and who were members and stuff like that. And so he gave out names and places of robberies, stagecoaches that were robbed, men that were killed, and stuff like that. Well, the vigilantes who arrested Red because he was thieving horses, they knew they had to hurry to capture the members before it was found out that they knew who they were. So before they did that, though, Red met a strong rope and a hard fall, and he didn't save his life. But they captured Henry Plummer eventually, and as they were getting ready to hang him in the elephant corral behind one of the buildings in Virginia City, he yelled out that he could ride. If somebody gave him a fast horse, he could, in about an hour, he could be back with bags of gold that would match his weight to save his life. Well, they hung him. And so far, the legend is that gold is still buried out here in someplace in this area. I kind of doubt there was any gold. I think he was just trying to slick himself away. He was very, very highly refined and kind of a slick talker. And I think he was just lying. But it makes a good legend. So anyway, that between 1862 and 1864, and he was hung on in January of 1864 by the vigilantes, who were formed because they could see that the sheriff was doing nothing to solve any of the crimes. Well, and they found out later why. All right, that's just a little history of this area. It's kind of an interesting history, and that's just 14 miles over the hill. In fact, Ennis got its start by the gentleman who was supplying the miners with supplies from back east. He used this area down here along the Madison River to let his cattle and horses and mules rebuild their strength after crossing the prairie to get here, because the grass that grew along the river was very nutritious and very lush. In fact, the enterprising young gentleman was cutting the grass, bundling it up, and selling it to the miners up there in Virginia City. All right, I'll get back on this Friday. Tomorrow I'll be in Bozeman, so Sorry I couldn't do any more than I did, but I just wanted to give you an explanation because I really want to get this going and get this guy started, start building his personality. All right, everybody have a great evening, and talk to you later.